thank you. Okay, so this picture up here is of it's Austin, it's Phoenix, it's Las Vegas. This is what growth is. When we talk about growth, we're not talking about personal growth, spiritual growth, or prosperity, growth and prosperity. I think we have to sort of unlink those two. This is the growth of the built environment. It's very thirsty. It's heavily subsidized. This is not the free market. Anybody who tells you a developer is a titan of the free market, don't believe it. They're heavily subsidized, and I can tell you all about that. This kind of growth is profitable for a few, for a certain business segment, but it's very costly to the rest of us. So let's look at the population growth. We just now have the 2010 census out so that you can see in 2000 to 2010. In 2035, CAMPO is the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. CAMPO is a 5-county repository of everything that has to do with transportation in the future. So they have their projections. So you'll see that for Bastrop, they project it goes from 74,000 to 215,000. In Hayes, 157 to 371. Population is doubling and tripling. The total in 25 years at 3,250,000. All right, so what does that mean? That means that we're going to have 1.5 million new residents. Okay, well, what's wrong with that? People tell me, well, Brian, we get a bigger tax base, right? We need a bigger tax base. We need more jobs. But what they don't tell you is with a bigger tax base, you have a bigger expense base. And then you also have more need for capital for public infrastructure. And who gets to pay for that? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, so, and then they say jobs, jobs, jobs. If you have 1 million people and your unemployment rate is 6%, you got 60,000 unemployed people, correct? If you double your population, you double the number of unemployed people. If you triple it, you triple the number of unemployed people. Labor is elastic. It will always settle out to where you have 5, 6, 7% unemployed. You're never going to catch up by adding more jobs. It's a ruse for population growth. And I'll tell you in a minute how that works. Is it too loud? Am I too loud for you guys? Okay, all right, thank you. Just a little bit right here, all right. So, this is CAMPO. This is the official documents. In 2010, they're showing road congestion at the lower left as a 15.6% congestion. In 2035, and this is after they spend $27 billion in new roads, toll roads, multimodal, we'll be at 39% road congestion. In other words, this is planned. This is after we spend the money, this is where we're going to end up. Now, of course, TxDOT's broke. Nobody has any money. So, yeah, it's all broken. So, in the center is, here's what our congestion is going to be like if we don't have any money to spend. Well, we don't have any money to spend. They're driving us from 16% congestion to 55% road congestion. These are not my numbers. This is what they're telling us life will be like in 2035. Now, if you were to ask people, what do you think about the population? What's your view of quality of life if the population doubles? Well, there was a study done by Envision Central Texas, which was the largest study of its kind, a polling done of over 12,000 people in this area. Over 40% of the people say that quality of life will be much worse if population doubles. About 35% say it's just going to be worse. So you can tell not too many people think it's going to be much better. And that's from county to county, Bastrop, Caldwell, Hayes, Travis, Williamson. 80% of the people think that the quality of life will be much worse or worse. Well, if that's true, why do cities try to grow as fast as possible? And who benefits? Well, let me read something about the growth machine, because this is pretty interesting stuff. This is from a book called Better Not Bigger by Evan Fodor. He says, most cities are busily doing everything they can to grow as fast as possible. They're aggressively recruiting new businesses with subsidies, tax waivers, and other giveaways. They're pouring millions into building infrastructure to accommodate future growth, and they seem willing to sacrifice local livability and environmental quality to achieve this growth. And it goes on to say, the engine of the growth machine is powered by the fortunes resulting from land speculation and real estate development. The primary business interests are the landowners, real estate developers, mortgage bankers, realtors, construction companies and contractors, cement and sand and gravel companies, and building suppliers. And then it says, a primary objective of the pro-growth coalition is to divert public resources into growth-inducing investments. Local government is co-opted by these forces to such a degree that growth promotion becomes the essence of local government. So growth promotion is the essence of local government. So this is Better Not Bigger by Evan Fodor, F-O-D-O-R. So let's look at the growth machine. Let's see what's at stake. So if you have 1.5 million new residents and there's 2.6 persons per housing unit, that means there's going to be 590,000 new housing units needed. Well, if you're at about 150,000 apiece, that means there's $88 billion worth of new housing for the home builders in the next 25 years. That makes them very happy. And then if you look at add the 88 billion, you add about 58 billion for new commercial construction, 27 billion for the Campo plan, and billions more for schools. You've got $200 billion worth of stuff coming online. Now that's okay, I suppose, if you're in that industry, if that's your trade. But if you're not, it's that costs are going to be offloaded onto you. Population in migration is big money. So who is the growth machine in this area? Well, let's look at the Austin Chamber of Commerce as one. They have this program every 5 years called Opportunity Austin, where they get businesses to contribute to a giant fund. It's like $18 million. The city of Austin put in $1.7 million for the first 5 years and another $1.7 million. And what they do is they try to recruit people to come here, all right? And so you think, well, they want jobs, all right? So if you think about jobs, you go, well, maybe these people are just trying to help everybody and help the poor and help cure some of what ails. But when you look at who these people are, and there's 250 contributors, there's everybody in yellow is in the real estate business. So real estate companies, construction suppliers, here's the next slide, all right? Real estate law and accounting, banking, finance, real estate economic development. The only, out of the 250 companies that are trying to get people to move here, 220 of them are directly related to real estate development. So the need for jobs is really just another way to say we are bringing people here so we can sell them houses and build stuff. Now, here's a little more proof. This is a New York public relations firm. I got this from Open Records. The city of Austin, as I told you, gives $1.7 million to Opportunity Austin. And this money, this is $30,000 per quarter that goes from Austin taxpayers to a New York PR firm to boost Austin and sell Austin. So here's one of the things they do. It says in the big arrow, in March, worked with Forbes on data for articles and rankings. So when you ever read that says, you know, Austin's =1 in Inc. magazine, Austin =1 in Forbes magazine, Austin =1 in all these magazines, we've got a New York PR firm, we're paying $120 grand a year to get people to move here. And you know, people are going to move here, but this is pouring gasoline on the fire. This is putting our foot on the accelerator pedal to get people to move here, and the people, they're doing it. Now, when I look at the land speculators, I'll pull these ownership records off of the Travis County Appraisal District just to figure out who's making money. You know, if it was us making $88 billion, okay, well, you know, maybe a little more mercenary. But here we are, you know, Eastburn Crossing, Williamsville, New York is the mailing agent, Reef Domain in Chicago, San Francisco, Pacific Coast Capital Partners, Dallas, Louisville, Kentucky. These are national syndicators, national land bankers who are doing nothing but speculating. And then they're hiding behind ag exemptions. You know, that's a whole other story, and wildlife things when they don't deserve it. But here is how we are, as taxpayers, are really getting burned. This is what the city of Austin charges for a water tap fee compared to everybody else in blue in the area. So Austin charges about $1,200 on a weighted average for a water tap. The true cost for a water tap in Austin, because of the public infrastructure and all the piping, is closer to $11,000. But we sell it way below cost. you know, you can see how Georgetown sells their water taps for closer to $5,000. So we are inducing people to move to this area. Austin is. Austin's the mothership that's creating the havoc for everybody. So here's what we're selling: water for below cost, water taps, I mean. This is our wastewater. And when you add them together, this is the total water and wastewater. So, and here's Formula One. I don't know if you know Formula One racetracks coming to Texas, right? Well, we are, the city of Austin, Austin Water Utility, is giving them a $13.5 million water line for free, 100% reimbursement. It's the water utility, you can see it right there, Formula One United States, $5 million for water utility, $8 million for the wastewater. So they're taking taxpayers, it's a wealth transfer from the existing residents onto into their pockets. Now here's a $200 million water wastewater line coming down I-35 and going toward a pilot knob in Elroy, and that $180 million is built into our water bill rate structure. So the Austin Water Utilities wringing their hands every budget season. We need more money for capital infrastructure. They raise our rates and then they extend the water lines, in every direction. So here's the way it works. A developer goes down the end of a 2-lane road, puts in a 500-unit subdivision, takes the money and leaves, and then leaves us with the cost of water, wastewater, schools, municipal buildings, parks, roads. All that amount is not included in their development. Now they pay for what's within their development, but not for the public infrastructure that serves it. So as you know, every couple of years you need a new bond election to fund these sorts of things. More bonds for schools, more bonds for water, more bonds for roads. It goes on and on and on. Here are some of the growth-related costs that aren't included in the sales price of a home. They're externalized onto the rest of the population. So I commissioned a study from this Evan Fodor who wrote this book. I said, what is the cost? What is the cost that's offloaded on the public for a new housing unit? The part that the developer doesn't get. Well, by the time you have the schools and the roads and the water and drainage parks, it's $25,000 per house. So for every home that is sold, there is $25,000 that is foisted on to the rest of us in the city, at least in the city of Austin. So that if you were to look at just on these 6 categories, at a 1.5% growth rate within the city limits of Austin, there's $120 million that existing residents are having to pay to subsidize for all the newcomers. It's just like Water Treatment Plant 4 that they're building out Lake Travis. My water works just fine. Okay, who is that plant for? It's a $500 million plus interest. It's well over $1 billion. Well, it's for the newcomers. Well, you know what? Let them pay for it because I'm not interested. It's just again, it's a wealth transfer. So this is my closing here: is that Austin is selling itself at below value to induce growth, bringing people here. If we just made growth pay for itself, then we could at least moderate the growth and take our foot off the accelerator. Unfortunately, the state only allows cities to collect in 4 areas: water, wastewater, drainage, and roads. So we can't collect from schools from the developer. We can't say, oh, you're going to cost us another high school? That's another $35 million with your 2,000 home subdivision. Well, no, Texas doesn't allow you to collect for that. But if you recoup some of that, at least to try to make real estate speculation take a little bit of the fun out of it.